already recorded tomorrow's video. It's about Alex Scott, it's about James Ward-Prowse, and a little bit of quite an interesting dynamic, I think, that's going on there. I thought I was finished for the evening. I really did. I thought there's going to be no other stories that have cropped up. And then the phone pings, and it's an alert. It's an alert with a story that Fulham want 90 million for Palhinha. Now, Gio covered Palhinha earlier. We all have. We've all spoken too much about this. But we're sort of in stagnation mode in the transfer window at the moment, which, for all reasons I've already gone over, I'm not going to go over again. When Gio was speaking about Palhinha in his earlier video, he was speaking about 60 million. Now, it's gone from 50, now it's gone to 60. We now find out that it might be 90. They want 90 million. So what the Mail Online are saying. Now, I'm just going to get to it really quickly. I don't want to spend too much time doing it. I'm going to get on, do the video, get off, and I'll be back tomorrow morning. However, it says Fulham hope to dissuade Joao Palhinha's potential suitors with their valuation. I'll tell you what, if that's it, fair play to them. Honestly, if they don't want to sell and they're saying it's going to cost you 90 million to get him, I think fair enough. We can't have it both ways, but I do think it's a ridiculous valuation, okay? I'm not offended by it, that's the difference. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's actually hilarious, really, but I'm not offended by it because they have their right, that's their player, just in the same way that we have our right to demand whatever we see fit for Declan Rice. We'll get to the Arsenal one in just a minute because, I mean, that's changing all the time as well. There has been now a second bid from Arsenal. Let me just read this thing about Palhinha. And it says Fulham have slapped a remarkable £90 million valuation on Joao Palhinha in a bid to dissuade potential suitors, including West Ham. Senior sources at Fulham say they are using the £100 million asking price for Declan Rice as a benchmark. Okay, I mean, even the Mail are quite scathing about it. They're saying Palhinha is 27 while Rice is only 24 and not considered to be at the same level in quality. He's not. He just isn't. Declan Rice is an all-round player. Gio mentioned it earlier. You don't need myself or Gio to tell you Declan Rice is an all-round player. You've seen it yourselves, you West Ham fans watching this. You know all about Declan Rice. Palhinha is a one-dimensional player. Very good at that one dimension. But I didn't want him anyway. I have to say, I think one thing our team's lacking is pace. I don't want him, and I don't want James Ward-Prowse. Do I think James Ward-Prowse, if he came to West Ham, would be good? He might be. He might be really good at set plays. Do I think Palhinha would be good? I think he might be. I really do. But ideally, I just want a bit more pace in the team, really, and a bit more youth. And I'll be discussing that in more depth tomorrow. But 90 million, I mean, I think this might be a good thing. I really do. I think this might mean that we turn around and we say, no, this ain't going to happen. Look, if we really wanted him and the price was 50 million, I've got to say, I'll be maybe looking at Fulham trying to get them to accept 40 or something like that, 35, 40. I think you can negotiate down from 50. You can't negotiate down from 90 and sort of meet at 65. It is just not worth that much money. But remember earlier on in the video when I said about negotiating tactics and having rich owners? The Fulham owner's wealthy. I mean, he was ready to shell out 700 million just to buy Wembley, and then he was going to move Fulham to Wembley. Do you remember all that? He's got money, he's got capital. So, realistically, he can ask for 90 million because he's not desperate for the 30, 40 million that someone might offer Palhinha. Do you know what? Good for them. Good for Fulham. Got nothing against Fulham at all. But I think possibly good for us. It does allow us to move on and maybe look at other targets. And I really do hope we have. I'll go into more detail about this tomorrow with the Director of Football, but I would like to think, I mean, when I speak about it, it's more to do with James Ward-Prowse. I would like to think any Director of Football coming in who's going to be given a budget wouldn't want to see so much of it being spent on a 27-year-old. At the end of the day, if you're a Director of Football, you want to prove your worth. Signing Palhinha is not proving his worth. Everyone knows about him, right? So, do you know what? Good luck to him. But as for using Rice as a barometer, honestly, it's absolutely preposterous. It really is. It's like, honestly, it's like valuing Che Adams, but looking at Erling Haaland as a barometer. Well, they're both strikers, right? So if he's worth 200 million, then Che Adams must be worth 160 million. Nah, not really. Don't really work like that. Maybe bad examples, but you know what I mean. I think Palhinha is probably better in the Premier League than Che Adams is. We are talking about the league's best tackler here, by the way. And I think the most, and he accumulates most cards as well. So I think one of them's good and one of them is not so much. But if you've seen the way he slides into tackles all the time, I'm not surprised he picks up cards. I think he's probably a good player. He is a good player. He is a good player. But he ain't 90 million's worth a good player. I'm pretty sure. But you should be able to get 3 players for that, shouldn't you? If you've got a director of football, you know, you should be able to say, whatever. I'll get 3, I'll get 30 million here, 30 million there, 30 million over here. Done. I don't know anyway. As for the Declan Rice one, some weird stuff going on really. But, as I mentioned, Arsenal have the luxury of time. They just do. They can take their time. Absolutely. Because, well, they know that West Ham, because we've told them as much, cannot spend until we get the Declan Rice money in. That being said, I absolutely agree with what Gio said. It was really good that we rejected it straight away. No, you're not having him, not for that money. But all I would say is I've spoken to a couple of Arsenal fans today because when I did something for an Arsenal channel a few days ago, and just speaking to a couple of the chaps from there, they're as annoyed with Arsenal as sort of we were when we were trying to bid for James Tarkowski. The Arsenal fans are saying, look, you know what West Ham want, just go and pay it. There's a few smoke and mirrors there. They're probably looking at it. We understand they're interested in Lavia. Are they seriously interested? Who knows? What I would say is he's probably looking, I'll say he, Arteta, getting the top players. It's not easy to bridge that gap because Man City are so good. Man City are going to go out and buy someone this season. Well, they'll buy more than one player. There's no doubt about that. It's not going to be an easy gap to bridge, and I don't think you're going to do it by buying young players. I'm not saying Lavia shouldn't be bought, but if they need ready-made players who are going to hit the ground running now. And Lavia's really good, but Rice is better. I think it's as simple as that. However, the increments in the bid seem silly, really, really silly. And the reason I say James Tarkowski, remember we went in with 27 million, then came back with 28.5. Arsenal know what we want. And there they are offering offering a sort of, I was going to say a front-loaded deal. It's not a front-loaded deal. It's a back-loaded deal, really, with a load of parameters and a load of clauses which are probably not going to be met for reasons that Gio covered earlier. And there's no point going into them again. The increments are too small. And the time between the increments is quite small. So it's quite long, actually. So if you look, 4 or 5 days ago, and they come in with their initial bid. Then 4 or 5 days go past and they come up with one that's a little bit more. So I'd expect the same again. 4 or 5 days more, they'll come up with one that's a little bit more. So if this one today is 75 million plus 15, that takes it for 90, I wouldn't be surprised if the next one is 85 million plus 17 or something like that. Honestly, I think it's going to be absolutely painful. Please, I hope somebody else comes in. But anyway, whatever else happens, we can all have a laugh. Joao Palhinha, 90 million. No, thank you very much.